Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are giving honest impressions of the Marathon Alpha. Legit, no sugarcoating anything, but I'm going to give my fair assessment. I only got to play for a day, but I feel though that's pretty strong for a first impression, because that's the whole point. What is our first impression getting in and playing? So let's get some things out of the way here though. This is indeed an alpha, so there are lots that is subject to change. I hope a lot does change, but because there are major concerns I do have, okay? I sit here thinking about it. I mean, there's good though too. But I want to be transparent that this is my first ever extraction shooter. I mean, literally ever. So some of what I'm saying could be the fact that I've never played this genre before, and there's definitely other games that might have done it better. So for anyone new, let's just deep dive. What is Marathon? It is Bungie's take on an extraction-based shooter on a prior franchise, Marathon. They're reviving an old name, pushing into a new genre. It's that simple of a concept. Squad of 3, spawn randomly, loot important items to level, and do what I'm calling quests or objectives. Now if you die, you lose everything you came in with. That's supposed to give you the high risk and high reward, which makes it fun to wipe a squad and take everything they got. So now I think what's important is getting my concerns of what impacted my overall experience early on. Here's a list of what I had issues with in the alpha that impacted my experience. Before we deep dive, so you know what may skew my own opinion of the game. First one is that there's a bug that I cannot solve with changing my keybind. So finding comfort moving around with default settings was really annoying. Some of the default settings make no sense, and it was really awkward to play at first. The second one, I'm just going to leave the list on the screen so you see them stack. Stamina. When running, it's really annoying. I mean, this isn't a bug, but it really slows down the pace of the way the game feels. I don't know how I feel about that one. Now the aesthetic. I think that the aesthetic is really washed out outdoors, but when you're inside of a building, it was really nice. Some of the character models don't match the original trailer. The devs made a comment that it's being worked on, and it took me out of the game at times. The music is really sick though. Now the biggest one, this is one of the biggest things, and so I guess I'll put it in its own category here. And it literally, I may not even touch this game at launch unless this is addressed. If they leave it in there, this isn't my game. And honestly, you watching this may not be your game either. It's aim assist on mouse and keyboard. Now, I turned this off. Just FYI, when I have my own impressions of this game, I had it off. But this makes me scratch my head, like literally. Maybe I'm not the intended audience for this game, and I'm gonna be honest, I might get a little passionate over the mic here, but aiming is pretty big in any FPS. I cannot fathom why this exists. I mean, literally, why? Now, people I know don't get upset, but this is literally my opinion, just giving cheats to mouse and keyboard. Controller I know is at a disadvantage, and they balance it with aim assist, and that has existed forever, but let's not normalize this for MnK, okay? I'm gonna ask you, the viewer, I ask the community, am I truly out of touch on this? Because honestly, I'll just keep silent, shut up, and I just won't play this. Like, this is, maybe I'm the wrong person for this, all right? Comment down below, seriously. I think that this is a major misstep. And I saw somebody comment saying, well, Destiny, and I don't play Destiny, so is it true or not? I don't know. There's one other game that was mentioned, and I'm going off script here, that they said has aim assist, but I don't play that game. There's a reason why. If it's got aim assist on MnK, or like Halo, I think has it or something. I don't know, but the Bungie has been, I guess, implementing it, and I don't agree with that. So I spoke with Eddie, who, by the way, played the alpha with me, and if you don't know who Eddie is, he does all the amazing thumbnails on the channel. He also turned it off, and the issue is that you cannot force others to turn off aim assist. So maybe some gunfights we might have won if we had it enabled. I don't know. I don't care how small of an assist or big, it's a major problem. There's also clips going on of players tracking enemies through smoke with this. So what's the point of Void's ability? Which you're probably like wondering, who the heck is that? Well, it's smoke on the ground. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now again, as a reminder, we only had a duo queue in the game. We did no-fill, so there's squads of 3, so we 2v3'd. Now out of the 12 rounds, we only got eliminated 3 times. I think that's pretty solid. So let's get into the pros of the game now that that rant is out of the way, and to be honest, that might be make and break for a lot of you. And I want to say, if this is an alpha, I hope that they change their opinion on it. That's why I'm putting so much pressure on it. Positive number 1, let's go into some positives, kind of ease things up a little bit, the gunplay. The guns were really fun with getting wipes, and it was enjoyable. I like the way the guns felt. It's a solid base. I said that's why I'm like, hey, you remove MnK aim assist, we can focus on other issues. I kind of wouldn't mind more recoil though, to make the guns feel more intense. So when you did win, it felt even more rewarding. But otherwise, I mean, wouldn't like more guns on the ground. Again, maybe it's just because I'm just starting out. Could be. I mean, here's a moment that was really satisfying, right? Let me show it real quick. Yeah, they're about to leave. They're about to leave. Looking. See one? Reloading.
5 minutes remain.
Got one. Oh, these guys are pissed.
He's knocked. Right here. He's next to you.
Oh, I got him.
Where's he?
Yep. It's sucking me up. Bro. Am I gone?
We did it.
Now, the best part of the game, and maybe I chalk this up to the genre of extraction shooters, that knowing that everyone has one life and you just lost everything and you gained everything from them is very satisfying. I really enjoyed that concept a lot. So that's why I can't say maybe that is a extraction shooter genre specific thing rather than marathon. Now, positive number 2, the audio in dark environments. Maybe because I played Apex Legends, I'm used to not having audio and footsteps, but I did notice the audio and footsteps. And let me just play this clip. He's on the right over here somewhere. I hear him. Yep. Over here somewhere.
I think I saw them right ahead.
Right here. Got one. I hear him. Almost got the other. Got another. I was actually surprised. I was like, hey, I heard somebody. You know, and that happened multiple times where I could hear what was going on. Now, the environments, I don't even know where to begin with this. The outdoors felt really flat, but the indoors is where it really shined. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I think they need to center the game around that a bit more. I don't know why it seems so washed out in the actual environment, but maybe even with YouTube compression, I think that does even worse in terms of showing the game. Yeah, you're right. I can see how YouTube compression with all this bright orange and everything, or just colors in general, would really kind of like destroy the look and feel, you know?
Yeah, this is a game that you play and not watch.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what's cool? Look at this.
It?
When you step over stuff, the environment kind of jiggles around. Look at that. That's kind of cool. I don't know why I find that interesting, but...
Yeah. Dude, the interior environments are like insane.
Yeah.
We can't go that.
But I hope they change that. And otherwise, like, it really hits when there's storms going on and the environment's really rocking. And then I'm like, that's the positive. It's nice. And I hope that the audio, maybe I'm the only one, but I thought it was kind of not too bad. Positive number 3 is the world building. Now, you got to look past it, but as I start playing, I was like, man, this really feels like Ghost in a Shell. I really feel like I'm a scavenger running around, like kind of getting my own identity. It's like delving into a really bad book at the start, but once you look past like the bad acting of the intro of a movie or something, it's like, wait a minute, kind of hits. There's something good here. The faction stuff is really nice. You can start to see the strategy build in, something I'm sure Tarkov players will say is much richer in that game, but everything looted seems to have had an impact with future upgrades of your character, which is pretty solid. The question is, though, over time, will this make me feel strong and have my time valued? Or is it going to feel like a complete waste of time? And is the end game worth it? So if I played already about maybe 4 or 5 hours and it's, you know, just nonstop, and I was like, okay, I've kind of reached a point where I'm like, you know, I see where we have to grind. Is that grind worth it? Now, outside, again, negatives, outside of aim assist, here's negative number 1. I would say uninspired design. I would say while the world is interesting since a lot of players play Apex, some of the characters based on the hero class system seems forced. May have been more interesting to let us pick traits and design our blank synthetic. Like, it would have been really cool if the synthetic was just completely blank. Then to have traits be noticeable by certain arm, like bands, or maybe like a backpack, something along those lines. But also, I want to say that like Void straight up looks like Ash. I just want to point that out. Maybe the first design was forcing some kind of hero shooter. The abilities are enough to be like a tactical, but I prefer the thought process, again, of inserting my own persona into the character and this world. That's what really started clicking for me when I kind of ignored the characters. I didn't like how they had their own voices. Honestly, they should even have voices, is what I started really thinking. It's more interesting than any other developer could come up with. I feel like this is what Battlefield, if you watch my channel, you know that we played a lot of Battlefield, that 2042 started to struggle with. They try to create these personas around rather than just having it be an empty vessel and we insert our own story. Not a weird persona we don't match with, which is, for this game, isn't it perfect to have a vessel? Quite literally, I think it fits the theme of what they're trying to do. An empty vessel, we insert ourselves, we scavenge, we build our persona, and we build it up. That's literally what I feel like what Marathon, I've never even played Marathon, to be honest, and I feel like that is a better idea, and I'm coming into this fresh. Am I too off base? Because that's what I feel like is going on here. Now, negative number 2 is the scarce fighting. I mentioned how I praise the gunfights, but when you're busy doing the objective, I feel like the incentive to fight was not there. It feels like they're missing the main gunplay loop. Maybe give a reason, shoot the bots more to drop more value, or have the objective always have defeat another player, bounce it out. Even if it was to damage another player for a certain amount of damage, where it's like something falls off of them, like a badge. I guess, like, give an example. If you're an anime fan, you're gonna know my example here. Hunter x Hunter. They get their objective is to get their badge number during one of the, you know, hunter exams. Maybe even through stealth they can achieve this. Maybe they don't have to eliminate the player, but it gives purpose. I know they have discussed a bounty system, but it's something that is just missing at times to encourage fighting from the get-go, not something like you have to unlock or get through. Sometimes people just straight up would run up on us and they would just run away scared. So they have to like have this incentive, and it feels like the gameplay loop is missing that important aspect. And they've been working on this for a while, so I'm kind of confused how they haven't had that incentive to fight. Now, it kind of segues to negative number 3, forcing teams. This game is best played with a squad, so it's very clear if you don't have friends online, I just don't see the value of solo queuing this. Losing everything can be frustrating, which is why Eddie and I play together, so forcing squads just seems rough. The devs had mentioned, which is why I'm getting to this point, that the reason was because they just did not fight when you played solo. Well, that's what you're supposed to give like objectives and encourage it, right? Well, I know it's not a BR, so you don't want to like have zone closing and you want it to be on run loot or whatever. Even if it's a small incentive to loot something, I did like the forcing of NPCs. They did have that as an objective, so I'm gonna give them that because it encouraged having to fire a gun. This just seems like it could be refined through feedback. But I play a lot of squad-based games, and the last thing I want to deal with is any MMR-based system having to deal with like the difficulty. And I know they have mentioned that they don't know what they're gonna do in terms of skill-based matchmaking, but still the thought process just like, be blunt, kind of pisses me off. I don't say that a lot, but I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me to deal with that. Like, that's a lot. I already put up with it as is. I don't know if I have it in me to go through that again, you know? And that kind of goes in with like the investment here in the game. Price tag. Simple, this should be free to play. And it gives me more patience with the game if I know it's free to play. But being forced to pay, then I expect a lot more. I expect, you know, especially dealing with cheaters. I know free to play you're going to deal with more cheaters. If I'm paying, I expect it to be really, really strict and making sure that cheaters are not there. But that's why I'm harping on aim assist. Why in the world would I pay for something if the other players just get aim assist? Now that what drives me at the wall there too. I guess we'll go into the next ones. Food for thought number 1. I did want to play more. I think outside of the flaws, I think there's a strong base here. I'm gonna be super honest. Like it's not like the worst thing I've ever played. I think it has a lot of potential. Maybe this is extraction shooter light. Maybe because I thought it was gonna be a lot more overwhelmed, but I found my footing pretty quickly. I mean, for example, somebody can answer this. Does Tarkov has a sponsored loot kit? Because it seemed like if you lost everything, it was pretty easy to hop back in and have a way to keep getting loot, and even your base kit was pretty strong. I would even say maybe it would be even scarier to be forced to have nothing and then having your vault start to lose stuff. But I know that's kind of what they're not going for. I don't know if it's that strict in Tarkov, so I leave that to you guys because this is my first extraction shooter. I'm trying to give just raw impressions of somebody who's never played it before. All right, food for thought number 2. Factions are really cool. I think fleshing out this side of the story would be interesting. Talking text is just pretty boring. I wish I could get into the world and what factions do without having exposition. Like having a novel just explain too much of the story before getting into it. And I think the devs had mentioned they were going to try to have the world explained through like its environment and stuff, which is interesting. But then they have the factions trying to like give the story as well. There just seems to be some mix match here, and they had mentioned that the story, they haven't even started it, which is why it feels so bad and rough. And I'm mentioning a concern because they have, what, 8 months to flush it out? How are you going to do so much in 8 months? I mean, they're going to be working nonstop. That sounds crazy. All right, let's do food for thought number 3, which is pacing the game. Maybe I should have said this sooner, but if you play Apex, this is not a fast-paced shooter. This is straight up not for you. The gunplay is slow, reloads take a while, the choices have a long-term downside, the healing is slow. Some of the characters can increase the pacing with movement, but it's really trying to hit a specific audience, and it's clear that this isn't for you. And Bungie is very clear, from my perspective, that they're not making this game for you. And that gives me the question, well, who is this for? If they have aim assist on MnK, is this supposed to be extraction shooter light to get everyone into the genre? But if they're doing extraction shooter light, are they just trying to make a gateway so people play Tarkov? Like, because then is that supposed to be the better game? Because even I don't play Tarkov, but I know Tarkov is a very fleshed out extraction shooter, right? Well, overall, that's my first impressions. I need to play much more. The game is enjoyable. I feel like I kind of ranted pretty hard on the game, but I will play it again. But if they don't change certain things, then you're never seeing another video from me on this, because then it's not made for me. But I'm hoping that this video reaches like a genuine audience, and for you guys to say, hey, I'm not the target audience for this, and then we all just go do our own thing, or maybe we are and they need to hear feedback. I don't know, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. So if you enjoyed this video and just kind of hearing real thoughts from just someone who's never played extraction shooter, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. See you guys all in the next one.